Welcome back again, everybody, to another episode of Three Bros and a Mic. You know who we got? Mark, J Mac, Mako's back again.
Yeah, hey, welcome back, Big Mako.
The fourth bro.
Hey.
For real.
And you know we got Mike, and of course Zay on the end right there. How we feeling, fellas? After our little rain delay, man, how we feeling?
Good.
Feeling
Hey,
good.
look, listen, man. Look, we back. We in action. We live. You know what I'm saying? We got we was able to get Big Mako back.
Hey, man.
We ain't scare him away. So
Come back down 85.
Hey, man.
we
Y'all
doing something right.
Y'all fed me. We're good.
The message had to be given, man. It stopped
Right.
raining, so the message got to come through. What you got, Jay, man?
Man, what I got, man, is a question that was posted on social media, and it said, "Why do we prefer to ignore negative information? Why do we prefer to avoid negative information?" So basically, why you acting like an ostrich? So somebody say, an ostrich? Like what? Well, you think about an ostrich, man, when you look at them when they're eating or whatever the case may be, they, hide their head. They put their head in the sand, kind of the analogy. So they're, in a sense, avoiding the situation. So you think about relationships, maybe yours or someone that you know. There's probably been a time or two where you have been an ostrich, where you have avoided the situation because you already knew. In terms of what we talked about off camera, like facing the music. Like, like the example they gave, before I do that, let me explain the ostrich effect one more time. The technical term from the website, the Decision Lab, is also known as an ostrich problem. It's a cognitive bias that describes how people often avoid negative information, including feedback that could help them monitor their progress. Instead of dealing with the situation, we bury our heads in the sand like ostriches. This avoidance can often make things worse, incurring costs that we might not have had to pay if we had just simply faced the things head on.
Mark, when you get that, you supposed to ask where your report card at.
Right. GPA, right? Yeah, GPA, right? So they gave
You took it back.
They gave a good example, real quick example. Let's say you've been eating out a lot lately, and probably more than you should have. I'm guilty of that. And you should probably check your bank account balance to see what the damage is, right? Yeah. But every time you think about doing it, you start feeling anxious. Yeah. You know the situation is bad, but you don't want to see how
bad it is, right?
Right. So in the end, you keep up your bad spending habits, but you almost never check to see how much money you're really spending. How y'all feel about it?
Man, nowadays, like, apps will break down every damn thing you got, right?
Facts.
You're spending on fast food, spending on clothing, grocery stores, movies, whatever you want to break it down to show you.
Right.
Yeah.
So the fact that you saying, you're doing all these things, but you don't want to utilize the tools in front of you just to avoid to see what you're actually spending, it's crazy, bro.
Hey.
It's crazy.
I don't know, send you that overdraft message.
Right.
Bro.
What you got going on, man?
You spending
Sick
really too
feeling.
much more than you
That's
bring
a
it in.
sick feeling, man. Even if it hits you when you're not even supposed to get it.
Yeah.
You have a car, something
Yeah.
they.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I've been there to where, and this, I promise you I'm not lying. You know how they send you a new card in the mail, because your old one's about to expire. So I got the email saying that my new card was coming, and that my old one wouldn't expire until it shows up at my door. So I go out to eat, and I'm just using my card, and this lady came back real discreet. It was like,
Denied.
You had another card, too?
and I'm like, you talking about a feeling? I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa. And so I start thinking like, instantly for me, I start thinking like, hey, what did I spend?
What I spend?
All that. And I start thinking, man, I did go eat. And I did do what I did, yeah. And then I finally realized like, I guess my card must be at home. My card must be in the mail. So it makes me just wonder like, in terms of our relationships with our spouse or just with friends or even at your workplace. Like, I'm pretty sure there's people at their jobs that, when their boss is coming down the hallway, you pull out that ostrich effect.
Right.
Like, I don't even want to, I already know.
Put that report last week.
Exactly. I already know.
Yeah. It's a bit of a already?
Good, quick. So pivot to this. Is there ever a good time to be an ostrich?
What you say, Mike?
To avoid the inevitable, what you saying?
Yeah, because you got to
Is it a
face
good
it, right?
time? It's ever a good time to avoid inevitable.
In that
The
present
piper
moment.
gonna come due eventually. It's going. You gotta pay the piper eventually.
I guess I don't know if I can answer that question. I could
Yeah.
speak to the fact that what is the impetus or why do we use the ostrich effect in the first place? I think a lot of times when people, I don't care what nobody thinks. That's a lie. We all care to a degree what other people think to varying degrees based on who they are.
Of course. Yeah.
And you're not wanting to disappoint somebody.
Yeah.
For instance, you gave a great one, Adrian. You took me back to where, I was a straight A student, but I got some little S's, some satisfactories when I was in elementary school, and I took them and I threw them in the trash can, right? And my teacher, you think you can hide that. And she's like, Mrs. Washington, Dr. Washington, you need to call you in. Your son hid this. And I was just like, I didn't want to let you down. I was embarrassed by the fact that I came up short, if you will. And it's not necessarily even facing it. It's more so that I disappointed you.
Right.
And I agree wholeheartely with that. And I also think about taking the ostrich effect when it comes to your health.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people won't face the music as a personal trainer. They won't face the music that they have a problem.
Right.
So what they'll do is like, I know my knees hurt,
Right.
but I'm just gonna get an ice pack and chill out.
And hit that
Not the fact that I weigh 350 pounds
Yeah.
and I'm 5'6",
Right.
350,
Right.
and my knees hurt. I'm just throwing a number. You know what I'm saying?
Big number.
But you get what I'm saying? Like when you have health issues
Right.
and you got pains that are constantly coming and you don't attend to it, that to me is an ostrich effect.
Don't know the last
Because you're
time you
turning.
went to get your physical or anything like that. You avoiding what you already possibly know.
You already
It's
know
the
what
risk
it
there.
is.
And I'm going to take it from another angle from what,
Yeah.
speaking of goals, so a lot of times we make things overwhelming.
Yeah.
So I tell anybody, what's the best way for you to be successful and to overcome this mountain? Not trying to climb it at one time. I want you to take 10 minutes a day.
Steps. Yeah.
In other words, life is like a big pile of dishes. And if you look at it that way, it can be overwhelming. Maybe I should just do one dish. Do 10 minutes. Consistency is the key to forming a good habit. But so much of it has become it's so overwhelming that we tend to let it overtake us.
Yeah, and that's what's helped me in terms of my finances, man. Like just snowballing one thing, like looking at all my bills and then figuring out that the one that's closest to being, taken out. I'm like, you know what? Like Mako said, looking at it through the dishes analogy. Like, you know what? That bill right there. All right, I got maybe a year and a half max on that. Let me put all my focus on that. And as soon as I finish it, I feel so accomplished.
Right, yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? Let me tackle the next thing. And then it starts a healthy habit.
What makes me small to you is, you know what I'm saying, like Big Mako said, a mountain to somebody else, man.
Yeah.
You just attacking, all right, let me focus on this one particular bill or this one particular weight loss goal or this one particular life goal of getting this promotion and just go from there instead of looking at the bit like, oh, man, I ain't going to be able to lose 50 pounds in this amount of time.
60 days.
You lose motivation. You just like, or you got $10,000 worth of bills and you say, well, all I can do is $100 and get this one bill out and I still got $9,000.
But you working at it.
But you working.
Y'all gonna crack jokes on me for this, but like one thing that the great Kobe Bean said, bro.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Oh my God. Like Kobe, not for real, man. Like, what I'm saying? I love y'all niggas, but like Kobe was just like, yo.
The great Kobe Bean.
Right.
Yeah, come with it.
Yeah,
come with it.
The late great Kobe Bean, right?
Yeah.
He said, how many ways do you target the elephant or eat the elephant? He's like, it's one bite at a time.
Yeah.
One bite at a time. You know what I'm saying? So to your point, you just, and to your point, you know what I'm saying? You look at this big situation, you know what I'm saying? And you have to literally strategically understand how to take this down.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's not going to happen overnight.
It's not going to happen overnight.
And I think Big Mako said this before and it was profound and I've seen it online too. You know what I'm saying? Whether the situation maybe you didn't get all this debt overnight, you didn't gain all this weight overnight, you're not going to lose all this debt overnight, you ain't going to lose all this weight overnight. It's a process, man. And you got to be able to take that, path. It's like, okay, it might not happen today or tomorrow, but if I keep staying on the path and be consistent with it, then eventually I'll get.
That's it.
Problems are not born giants.
Right.
They start as babies.
Mm.
They start as babies,
Right.
and we ignore them
Right.
because at the
Same-
time
Right.
it's like, oh, it's minute.
Right.
For instance,
Right.
your health. You're using makeup.
It's only 5 pounds.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
all
only,
right.
I'm only 5 pounds overweight. Okay,
Right, yeah.
cool. I'm gonna hit up Five Guys every Friday.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get that little cheeseburger all the way.
Yeah. Fact.
Yeah.
A large fry. I
I'll
don't
work
want
out,
no
I'll
regular.
work
I
out,
want a
I'll work out, I
large.
get
You
it.
get a large.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, large,
And,
right.
and,
I'm a cheap
and
myself. I got
then,
pay.
Right. Why not?
what used to be every Friday now becomes, oh, Saturdays here too.
Hey, man.
You know what I'm saying?
What we gonna eat Saturday?
I've been
back.
there.
I might go back and get it again.
Hey, Sunday,
Oh, man.
Mama didn't cook. I know
know
I'm
what?
going. So it can start turning into
snowballs, right,
snowballs,
yeah,
right? But then also thinking
I got
about
this credit card, it's a $10,000 limit.
Right.
Hey, man.
Right.
if
Hey,
you,
I'll pay this money back. Hey, man. Give me that big screen TV right there.
Hey.
Right.
not with a 25% interest rate.
Right, yeah.
Good.
I ain't worried about the
Say.
interest rate. I just need the TV now.
Right.
Right.
Listen,
I'll pay it
man.
off.
I got this money coming, so I'm gonna hit it before it gets to that
Yeah.
25%.
What is that? I take it
And
from
then
my
your
check
car
and put it in
break
my
down.
savings, and then
Like,
put my savings
Oh
and put it in my
yeah.
checking.
Put it in my check.
Right.
It take about 2 or 3 days.
But it'll be in there.
But listen,
Right.
and take it a step further in your relationships, man. I think if we do the ostrich effect with our significant other, we avoid conversations that we know need to be had,
Yeah. Avoid conversation. Yeah.
and then what happens? It festers.
Yeah.
Like Zay was saying, man, it starts to snowball, and then when you finally have it, it blows up because you had a chance
Right.
to handle it right then and there.
Right. Nip it in the bud.
But you chose to let it sit and ignore it by like, you know what? Oh, my wife's home or my husband home. Let me go around the block one more time.
Right,
Or
yeah, it's
let me. Oh, I gotta get some groceries. Yeah. Oh, my kids need something. Oh, yeah. And then text her. You ain't gonna talk to her. You gonna text like, hey, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get this, and this. And then you come home. You try to time it just right, like 8 o'clock. Okay, the kid's down. She probably down too. Go in, and then you trying to do all this planning to avoid something that eventually is going to happen anyway.
Right.
Almost 6 years in the game. I know.
Hey, man,
Man, don't work, bro.
Online, man, Mark and Mike and Big Mako, where the wife was like, the husband handled all the finances, right? So she was assuming everything. You know what I'm saying? He didn't say nothing.
Yeah,
Everything,
right.
you
Everything
hunky dory,
good.
everybody eating
Yeah.
dinner, and everybody laughing and joking at the dinner table. Then one day she's getting, a foreclosing order. Like, hey man,
Yeah.
what have you been doing
Right.
with the money? Like, I had put faith in you.
I
that
got
you
it.
were- Yeah, you doing everything.
I got
I
it.
asked you, do you need help? Nah, we good. Everything's good. And now to come through, and I'm looking at the mail, and our house getting foreclosed on. So what have you been? Have you been putting your head in the sand, like to
Yeah.
go back to the ostrich effect?
Yeah.
Like I'll figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Now they got to the point where it's too much for me to handle, but I can't tell my significant other, hey, we at the point now we about to lose our home. And they get to that point.
What started out as a warning
Right? Yeah.
now it's become foreclosure.
Yes.
Ooh, that could be the same for your marriage. Ooh, started out as a warning.
Everything's money for. Yeah.
Right.
Now it ended up being a divorce because it could have been something
That could've
possibly-
been handled right, that you
possibly
talk to
could have
your
been
wife or your
handled.
significant other could have helped you.
Yeah.
But you want to be like, nah, I got it, and put your hand and say, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And 2 months later, you be like, man, I might not be able to figure this out, but you too far in the game now. You like, hey man,
Hey.
I got to figure something out. And then 3 months later, come out, it's like, hey man, we about to take your house.
And then you gonna start doing stuff irrationally.
That's right.
Taking out
Now
loans,
you
taking
outta
out
here.
credit cards,
Right, yeah.
everything.
Right,
Second
yeah.
mortgage or
Trying to-
something crazy. Yeah.
Trying to get a quick scheme. Yeah.
Right.
That happens all the time.
Right, yeah. To cover up what you already did, it's just like somebody told me, I'm gonna let y'all say, I think I'm
Nah, man, go ahead, bro.
Nah, this is like,
You doing it?
I seen another person was like, same situation, had a credit card, took out another credit card to pay that credit card.
Oh, yeah, you
now
got-
you
yeah.
say, you know what I'm saying? Now you owe more on this credit card.
Yeah. You got 18 months, bro.
Right, yeah. You done
0%.
paid off this one credit card, but now you're in deeper
Right.
debt with the credit card you got.
Yeah.
Happens all the time.
Because your
bro.
plan went sideways.
Right, yeah.
That's all the
That was your
time.
plan. That was your great scheme to get another credit card to pay off this credit card with more interest rate and more money that you owe now. Now you got to pay these people back.
Yeah, but I think about even in a job setting, man. Like the job I have now for the last since 2016, I've been in education for 18 years, and this job that I got now had
Man,
I
don't
done,
skip past that, man. Hey, man,
Oh,
shout out to
man,
all the 18 years, man.
That's
hey,
huge.
man.
That's huge.
That's
Listen,
huge,
man, I appreciate that. But had I taken the ostrich approach and felt like I didn't want to face the music of stepping up,
Right,
comfortable.
right,
I know my school. I know the ins and outs.
right.
I know how to say. I know the law of the land. I got this. I'm good. I think we've all been there at some point in our lives. Like we are comfortable in our setting,
Yeah.
and then comes along people saying, "Hey, there's an opportunity for you to grow."
Yeah. What you think about it?
And what you think about it? I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good
But-
where I'm at.
Right. But then they're like, no, you're bigger. You know, it's good to have people in your corner like that. Because then they're like, you know what, you're bigger than this, James.
yeah.
You're bigger than I'm
Right.
like, what are you talking about? Bigger than this? Like, I ain't bigger than no school. I'm thinking
Yeah,
humble.
yeah.
Like,
Right, yeah.
no, but what they're trying to get me to see is that there's something greater for you. But I'm like, nah, I don't want it. I don't want it. Until I started to feel, I don't know if y'all felt this way at your jobs, but I used to always wake up eager to get to school, ready to work,
Yeah.
ready to learn with these third graders, work with them. And then my last 2 years, it was like hell. I despise going to work.
Wow.
And I
time to
only
go.
did it
Yeah.
because I knew I had to clock in,
Right.
pay my bills,
That's it.
all of that.
Straight up.
So I was getting every little thing was frustrating me that the previous 10 years did not frustrate me.
Was never
So
in
that's
it.
what I knew. Having to talk to my pops would tell me, he said, "It's time for you to go."
That's it.
Right.
And I was like, "Why?" He was like, "When you stop enjoying what used to be fun and what used to be your passion and
That's
you love,
sage advice.
it's time to move up." So when I took that, instead of being an ostrich, I took a step at it,
Yeah.
Right.
and I didn't get the job the first time. I didn't get the job the second time. I didn't even get called for an interview twice. And I was like, I don't want. Obviously, it's not my job. But then I had a good friend from college who was in the position I'm in now. She was like, "Try again." She said, "But you know what you're missing? And it's good having a good circle of friends with you.
Right.
Like you're missing. You need to present at a conference, at tech conference, because that's where all of our bosses are. They're always at these conferences looking for the next person to work with them." I was like, "You mean to tell me to work with people I don't go to a conference and present in front of people I don't know?" The conference is for Georgia, all Georgia educators in Georgia, coming from Tift County, from Coweta, wherever, to the congressman where y'all got married. We have it every year there in November. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna step out on faith. I submit a proposal. They accepted it. I'm doing my lesson, and in the very back is my teammate now, and she's pointing like this. "This is the boss right here."
Right.
And I was like, okay. So I do my little spiel for 45 minutes, and then she called me and was like, she liked what you did. Do the interview. I mean, I do the interview, do the application again.
Yeah.
I'm going out to eat. Long story, cut it real short. Going out to eat with my wife for my birthday. She texted me. She was like, "The application is open. Do it now." Like she's letting me know.
Right.
So my wife was like, "Yo, let's go home now."
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
"No." I said, "No, it's my birthday. We gonna eat.
Right.
We gonna eat."
Yeah.
So we ate, and then we hightailed all the way back to the crib.
Right.
Did the application, got the interview. The rest is history.
That's it, bro.
But all because I did not turn into an ostrich that third time.
Right.
Because you never know. I mean, I was set in my way. I was like, obviously, I didn't get the first 2 times, right?
I mean, it ain't for you.
It,
Right?
it ain't for me.
Yeah.
But then, it's funny how, when you stay obedient, not trying to be spiritual, but when you stay obedient and you believe in yourself and what your capabilities are, and then God sees it. He's like, yeah, it's time for you to go. Like, I mean, when I tell you irritated, like, I was very short with everybody for 2 years straight. My anger was at an all-time high. Everything was just, I was just not liking my job anymore. And it was nobody's fault but mine, because I had the opportunity to move on, but I chose not to because I was afraid of facing the inevitable of moving on from out of my comfort.
Right.
So I'm thinking about us in terms of maybe just your job or your relationships. There are going to be times, I believe, where you're going to have to face the inevitable and make a change.
Get out of your comfort zone.
And are you willing to do it, or are you willing to sit back and be like, "Nah, I'm good."
Right.
I can't do that with kids. I gotta forever be a chameleon. I gotta change every single day. Like with my boys, I already know it's gonna be like I gotta still be dad, but I gotta be dad and I gotta be Bluey. Or I gotta be dad, I gotta be Paw Patrol. I gotta continuously be a chameleon because this world is forever changing. So
Big Mako, Mark, Mike, you know, I feel like me and J Matt that dominate this conversation.
Hey, man.
Hey, man.
yeah,
like
man,
you
we done
said,
took
the spirit,
we done
the
took over
spirit,
this
the
whole
spirit.
combo, bro.
I'm going back to
My bad, bro.
we're going to the spirit. The spirit called Jimmy to do his thing, man. That's
a
what
good
it
listening
is.
session,
Me
man.
and J Matt been playing boxing one. We passing the ball
Hey,
back and forth. You know?
I think it's interesting when you talk about difficult and just how, I'll give you an example. Every day I take a cold shower. I haven't had a hot shower unless I shave my head.
Oh wow.
I get in there, I throw that thing on, boom, and it hits me.
Well, you built different.
And
Yeah,
no, but one of the reasons
That's crazy.
one of the
It's a
reasons
benefit.
one of the reasons
It's a
why I
benefit.
do it, I started it December 14th. That's when I started it. That was the date. I'll never forget. I started it December 14th. It was dead in the winter.
Wow.
My whole thing is, somebody told me once, we like as men to prove how tough we are, but we don't like uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And when you throw that shower on, you got to make a choice. You either gonna tiptoe in that thing,
Step back.
or you just gonna hit that, put your head in, and boom, it just hits you.
Right.
And I say, with how many people are willing to do this? And it's a psychological thing because it leathers you up to
It's definitely psychological.
sure.
what if I, you know,
matter,
most
yeah.
people wonder. It's for instance when you talk about health. We typically Southern, we go to church. Our culture is we eat comfort foods.
Right.
But when you're really structured in what you should do, you should have a cheap meal, not a day where you've ruined the entire 5 or 6 days that you went
A cheat
because
day,
you
right,
had
yeah.
fried chicken, macaroni and cheese, ribs, and all those things that make you
Collard
comfortable.
greens, yeah.
When we really should be eating for
Layer me up.
nutrition.
Right.
We should eat for what makes us benefits the body, not necessarily for taste.
Right.
And you have to get to the point where, again, something we don't typically change, grown folk, as particularly men, unless it's a life-changing event, such as our health,
Yeah.
or something where it's life-threatening or someone dies, and it mandates that we make a change. And that's where I think you just kind of kick the can down the road until you're forced to make a change, whether it be the foreclosure,
Right.
whether it be the fact that you're in a position, like you said, where you're working,
Yeah.
and you're so fed up that you're about to explode and you're trying to hide it. Eventually, it's either you change or you panic in time, as my dad used to say. He's like,
Yeah.
you know what? You may not have studied for that test the whole semester, but you give yourself a night, you can get through it, son.
That's it.
Now we
That's
got a
it.
cram.
You can do it. So
But why do we, and maybe this is a rhetorical question, but why, maybe it's not, I know it's not just men, but since we're all up here, why do we wait until it's damn near too late? You get what I'm asking?
Because it's easy, right?
Yeah.
But I think by nature, our habits to do the easy thing.
what we're used to,
You
we're
know,
comfortable,
so, right,
familiar.
So if we're inside this bubble, we say, look, as long as I'm inside this bubble, I know all I gotta do is worry about A and B and C. The minute I step outside that bubble, man, the rest of the alphabet coming in my ass.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I mean, so you don't know what to expect, you know, but you stay in that little bubble.
Right.
It's like going back to relationships. Throw that big D word around, divorce. So why put yourself in a situation where you know this thing building up and it's only gonna end up one thing? Y'all go and sit down on the paper, sign the papers, y'all walking each other way, right? Why not put the work in, go to counseling, whatever you gotta do, address the situation before it gets to that point if you want it to work. You know what I'm saying? Get out your bubble.
Yeah.
Which is the dangerous time we're living in is this.
Man,
Get out your
shit.
bubble.
It's this.
All that phone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because
man.
everything, the good thing I like about it is people can't deny
Yeah.
what you see instantly, and it's no longer folklore or things that you didn't think happened because you had to witness it.
It's there,
The
yeah.
problem is, though, is that you have to, it's like a backup cam. It numbs you from being able to look around and feel where you have to go because it's provided for you. Everything is made easy for us to numb us. That's why
Yeah.
taking a tough path is probably the best thing for you to do. Know how to do it analog before you know how to do it digital. I tell my son, you can hunt with a rifle, a bow, a knife, or with your hands. But if you can't go with your hands, you can't go with the knife, you can't go with the bow, and all you have is your gun, what happens when it goes? You have to take it in its gradual procession and progress to get better at it, and it's not always easy.
And you're right, it's not always easy, but I'm also thinking about those relationships that avoid conversations.
Yeah.
But they avoid verbal conversations. But then
conversations.
but then you turn around and you get on social media. I'm like, nigga,
Bro.
nigga, you just
Bro,
we put
That
Oh, that's how you feel?
Oh,
We in the same
God.
house?
Right, yeah.
We not saying that's me. I'm just thinking, in totality,
right,
like.
yeah.
They're talking to somebody else when they need to be talking
Right.
to the person.
So you
that
feel
they
more
need to
comfortable
address.
talking to
Yes.
a complete stranger,
Right.
a group
And getting
of people
validation for somebody
who
that-
don't really care about
Right,
you at
yeah,
all.
yeah.
Right.
But you feel more. You feel the sense of comfort in tweeting out how you feel about our situation
Right.
or whatever you got going on versus facing the music and having a grown up conversation. Like that to me is what irks me about grown ups today.
There's another,
Irks me to death.
there's
That
another aspect of that.
I get it if there's a situation where it's a toxic conversation. You can't y'all can't talk. I get that. I know there's layers to this,
Right.
but I'm talking about when it's just like, hey, we just need to have a talk, man to man, woman to woman, woman to man, whatever the case is. Let's just have a grown up, respectful conversation. And the fact that a lot of people haven't grown up even having those conversations leads them to say, you know what, I'm gonna do what I'm comfortable doing. And I'm gonna tweet out and all that. So
Even the simple amount of eye contact when
Eye
you're
contact.
speaking to somebody. But I think also in contrast,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's not always the case.
No.
But to me, I'll give you an example. Somebody I cared for, she just had her only child. And at every single turn, she puts something on about the child because she loves the child. And she's happy to finally be a mother. That's a blessing. That happens. And I'm putting her off as an outlier. But to me, the more you articulate your everyday life and you put it out and how good it is, the more my antennas go up and be like, what's it really like in its intimate proximity? What's your relationship really like that I'm not seeing? Nobody, so we all, it's like when we saw Mac and Callie have a little tiff when we were moving, we're like, okay, that happens to them too. It's like when we had that man conference at Mac's house, and you're like, you an angel? Like, yeah, you know I'm married too.
for sure.
It humanizes you, but when you look at somebody, you're just like, you know something? They put every single thing from the time that they eat, what they eat, where they go, how I can see their feet when they crap. I can sit there and I'm just like, I don't need. It's like honestly, I don't care that much about what's going on with you. And then why didn't you like the post? You see how many friends I got? I might not even see what he's talking about. It's just it's just the constant need for validation.
Right.
When at the end of the day, what you said about you going home and your wife, and you sitting there saying, I'm laying, I can look at my babies and they're happy and I did the right thing.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's gold.
When you have that and you can
That's
feel
all that
good in
should
yourself,
Yeah.
everything else is laying you out.
When you're more concerned about the views of others instead of my view, that's a problem.
That's the problem.
When I gotta take this down because I only got 30 views and I need to have 1,000.
Right.
Like, where are we going with this, man? And you got to face the music, and I think a lot of people don't want to face it because, first of all, they probably never experienced anything like that.
Yeah.
They've always been their whole lives. They've probably seen their parents or single parents disengage or turn their head to everything. And they say, you know what, nah, we not going to, if mama or daddy don't like this person, I see how they move.
Right.
And I'm like, you know what? Oh, that's how they handle it. That's how I'm going to handle it. I've been there, the way my daddy would handle situations. I'm thinking that's the way to do it. Because my dad seemed to be fine, but internally he probably was like ready to pop his top.
Right.
So, I mean, it's so many examples of ostrich effect, man. And I think to wrap it all up, I guess the best way to handle it is you got to face it eventually.
Yeah.
So why not face it now before it becomes worse later?
That's it. That's it, right?
That's how I see it. Any other final comments, man?
See it through, man. I mean, what it come down to.
You
Can't run
to
from it,
anyway.
see it through.
Yep.
What's a molehill become a mountain real quick, man. And
Right,
it's
right.
It's too late at that point, man, when you pass the point of no return and when you could have just faced it head on and got the situation rectified at that point.
Yeah, easier said than done, man. But if you truly
Yeah.
care, you'll do it.
Yeah.
That's just how I
You
see
do
it.
Front, right.
Yeah. All right, man. Well,
Another good conversation.
hey,
man.
Mike taking it all in, man. Yeah.
Hey, yo, this is more of an educational session for me than anything. I took in a lot more. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was real rich, real deep.
A
man,
brother
you know
that
what I'm
quotes Einstein and Kobe Bean.
Man,
He's
nah,
learning
Nothing to
something.
say.
Nah.
Yeah,
Nothing to say.
Man.
Look, even Mark hit me with the see it through, man. Like I mean, I can't remember the poem all the way, but
Yeah,
like
it's a good poem,
It was a
man.
really good poem.
Yeah.
It was a really good poem, but
Hey.
yeah, no, man. I appreciate it. I look, this was a lesson, a learning lesson.
Yeah. And that's
You
what we're
know
here
what I'm
for,
saying,
man.
man.
Therapy
That's it,
for
man.
us, man.
For sure.
So we hope y'all enjoyed this episode, man.
Hit that like button.
Like that button.
Smash
Subscribe.
that like button.
Share this video, man. We love y'all, man. Y'all be safe.
And also, let us know what y'all think about Big Mako, man. Like, he did.
Yeah.
Send them comments. Let us know what y'all think about Big Mako, man.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying?
We love y'all.
Love y'all.
Bring it on.